Starfleet Command comes under attack from one of its former officers.
Shall we begin?
So Captain Kirk and the crew of the Enterprise are sent on a manhunt.
This ship will not fit.
We'll fit.
Captain, we will not fit.
We'll fit! We'll fit!
As the fugitive is caught, he reveals a much deeper conspiracy in Star Trek Into Darkness.
Hi, I'm Sean.
Hi, I'm Scott.
And I'm Salim, and we're here to talk about the sequel to the 2009 reboot of Star Trek Into Darkness. We've all just seen it. Scott, why don't you take it away?
Okay, here's what I have to say about Star Trek Into Darkness. If the last movie broke ground, went outside of the box, and was an ambitious movie, Star Trek Into Darkness is an even more ambitious movie. Most of the time, it pays off. This is an action-packed, from start to finish movie. It is very exciting, it's loads of fun, and I feel like it's a thrilling movie that is enormously entertaining, and just like the last movie, it's not just a great Star Trek movie, it's a great movie, period.
What I loved about the 2009 movie is that it brought in new fans like me, while also satisfying original fans, and I think this movie does the same, and even then some. There are only small gripes that I have with this film, and the first act probably has the smallest of them, and it's pacing. And that's mainly because it's action from the very beginning of the film. There's not a lot of time for character development.
Well, you know, the 2009 film, we had this idea where we're going to reboot the franchise, and we're not just going to do that, we're going to introduce this alternate timeline slash reality. And so I said, okay, everything that could go wrong with that idea is present in this film. Instead of saying we can go to the far reaches of the universe, we can go to wherever we want to with the Star Trek universe, what do? They collapse in on themselves and they go right back to everything we've already seen before.
I absolutely see where you're coming from. And as a Trekker, I have to say I kind of agree with you. They just had this brilliant idea with the last movie to break out and take risk. It was bold. They destroyed Vulcan. They put Spock and Uhura together. It's like, oh my God, this is awesome. So for them to sort of fall back on things that we are familiar with, not the preferred thing to do, but yeah, it still completely works, and it will work for people who don't know anything about Star Trek. And I know we're sitting here in our Star Trek uniforms here talking about it, but it's important for people to know that these movies are for everyone. They're not just for the Trekkies.
If anything, I just think it's an interesting story. These are interesting characters. We have Benedict Cumberbatch as John Harrison, a great villain as opposed to the villain that we had in the previous film.
Yeah.
I mean, because the movie is more so about Captain Kirk, Spock, and John Harrison. It's kind of the three of these guys playing off of each other, and I thought that was really fun.
I'm not on the same page there either. I actually thought this Benedict Cumberbatch character named John Harrison very superficial. I mean, Cumberbatch just kind of oozes and seeps evil, and there's nothing underneath the surface. I didn't have to chip away at this guy because everything was on the surface. I knew everything about this guy. I mean, there's some scenes where they're like, should we trust him? Should we not trust him? And I'm kind of screaming at the screen, no!
Wow.
It's pretty obvious that this guy's about as evil as it gets, and I like Cumberbatch, but the character could have been more subtly written.
Why did you allow me to live?
We all make mistakes.
No. I surrendered to you because, despite your attempt to convince me otherwise, you seem to have a conscience, Mr. Kirk.
I think the characterization is really what makes this movie resonate more than just being an action-packed summer blockbuster, which it is. Zachary, Quinto, Chris Pine, I love these actors. I think they have great chemistry together. You know, Benedict Cumberbatch is a stronger villain than Nero. I would love to have seen more of him on the screen. He's that good.
Yes. Did you like any of the characters?
Well, no, I do. Listen, in 2009, you had an enormous task of having to basically replace people. You had to replace William Shatner and DeForest Kelley and Leonard Nimoy, and I think that they did about as good a job as they possibly could do. A lot of what made these Star Trek movies great in the past was that we liked these characters so much and we were endeared to these characters so much. That continues, but still, this movie gives such short shrift to some of these people that I wanted them back and I wanted them on screen more.
Star Trek runs really deep for me. I mean, I've been a Trekker since I was 6 years old. That's 1974. Do the math. But for me to see the last film, the 2009 movie, and Into Darkness, and to see Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto play Kirk and Spock, and to not even think for a second about these larger-than-life performances of William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy speaks volumes of just how great they are in these roles.
Let's talk about JJ a little bit.
Yep.
We don't know if he's going to be back for the third one, but how do we think he did for this time around?
Okay, I think he did a great job. I think he upped his game as a filmmaker, making Awesome, action-packed, epic movie that raises the bar from Star Trek 2009.
It's difficult for me to find flaws in J.J. Abrams' films because you can tell that he spends the time to hone these films down to be almost as perfect as they can be. I thought 2009 version of Star Trek was one of the more perfect films that have come out in the past 10 years.
It's an instant classic.
It's an instant classic. Like you said, it's not just a Star Trek sci-fi movie, it's just a great picture, period. This one, there's just small tidbits here and there that make it not as great, but they're really, really small gripes.
I found about 1.5 million errors with Super 8, so I don't even want to go ahead into
Be careful, Sean, you are wearing a red shirt.
I am wearing a red shirt. I gotta...
Super 8, I can agree with you on.
Okay, there you go. J.J. Abrams is efficient. He gets the action done. I found it a little safe, though. I feel like we could go into bold territories, and it's fine. People will enjoy it. I think they will. But I want a little more nuance and subtlety to my Star Trek picture.
The final frontier is no longer the limit. Into Darkness boldly goes where no Star Trek movie has gone before, and then some. It's not just a great Star Trek movie, it's a great movie, period. It's another Star Trek movie for everyone. I say see it.
Star Trek Into Darkness is far from terrible, but it plays too much on the familiar. It timidly goes where everyone has gone before. Stream it.
Only very small gripes keep this from being as good as a 2009 Star Trek. Definite see it.
Our votes add up to 2.5 tickets, which is a see it for Star Trek Into Darkness.
All right.
Cheers.
Live long.
Yeah.
I'll teach you not to like Into Darkness.
Well, it's the wrong movie.
Oh, yeah.
Support for Just Seen It comes from Acorn, distributors of Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries, a modern detective series set in 1920s Melbourne. Now on DVD and Blu-ray. More information is available at acornonline.com/PTV.